It was a brutal slaying. 12-year-old Shanda Sheriff was repeatedly beaten and sodomized for hours.
They knew exactly what they were doing, and they did it over a disgustingly long period of time.
Shanda Scherer's murder by 4 teenage girls made national headlines with its brutality.
The Shanda Scherer murder was a horrifying crime for Madison, Indiana, and I don't think our community will ever forget.
15-year-old Hope Rippey and 3 other girls admitted to torturing 12-year-old Scherer and burning her alive.
Hope Rippey and Tony Lawrence turned themselves into authorities today.
Sunday, police arrested 16-year-old Melinda Lovelace and Lori Tackett and charged them with murder.
Melinda wanted some particular person killed, and Lori was the one that wanted to kill somebody. I'm not certain it would have happened if it had just been one of them, but the two together, Shanda's fate was doomed.
18-year-old Tackett repeatedly told prosecutors she's forgot many things about the night.
A lot of times the failure to remember appears to be convenient.
I think they deserve to die the way they killed that little girl.
They kept Shanda confined in the trunk of a vehicle. They would stop at various times and would torture her. There was also testimony that one of the girls would keep her foot on the gas pedal and rev the engine to subdue the noises that Shanda would make during her torturing.
Indiana State Police have confiscated the car of one of the girls. Today, they began examining it for evidence.
The 18-year-old Lovelace planned the murder of 12-year-old Shanda Scherer to punish Scherer for stealing her lesbian girlfriend. She was burned alive in this field.
Her body was drawn up in what's called the pugilistic posture, which is typical of persons that die in fire. They draw up like a boxer. Based on the investigation, after they got Shanda's out of the trunk and laid her down here, Hope Rippey poured the gas and Lori Tackett set her on fire. They then went up this road, turned around, and came back and saw that the body was still visible. So there was still a little gas left, and Melinda poured the rest of it on Shanda and set her on fire again, and Shanda was still alive at that point.
With 4 teenage girls in custody, there were suddenly more questions than answers.
Lori, do you regret doing any of it?
Why would they want little Shanda dead? What led them to commit such a heinous, vicious crime and murder the innocent little girl who was the light of her mother Jackie's eye?
I kept thinking that I wanted my baby back, but I'll never get her back.
I want to know about Shanda. Tell me about her.
Well, she was delightful. She was happy, and she was a typical little girl. Very athletic, in every sport, cheerleading, everything she could be in, she was in. Very tender-hearted. She was one of the type of children that if she just thought she upset you, she would immediately tear up, and she's very, very thoughtful and kind and considerate.
Well, just the pictures I've seen, she seems so vibrant.
She lived a full 12 years. She really did. That was all she got, but in those 12 years, she lived a very full life.
But that gift was taken away on a January night in 1992 when 2 strangers came to Shanda's father's house.
Some girls come to the door. It was Hope and Tony.
Hope and Tony. She was there for the weekend. And Shanda answered the door. And apparently Steve and Sharon, his wife, were sitting there in the living room. And he heard one of the girls say, "Is Shanda home?" And of course, Shanda answered the door. So he knew immediately these girls didn't know Shanda. He couldn't hear what was being said altogether, but he heard a little bit. And from what I understand, when she closed the door, he questioned her about it, a little bit angry at her because he didn't feel she was being honest with him.
Well, what we do know is that Melinda had a relationship with another girl, Amanda. And Melinda was very upset that Shanda had had a relationship with her and was out to get Shanda. And so these girls were in cahoots with Melinda. They get her out of the house some way.
Yes. After Steve went to bed, they came back. And Melinda is under a blanket in the back seat. And Shanda left her purse and her coat on the kitchen table. She had no intention of leaving. She was going to the end of the driveway.
Right.
And when she got there, they put her in the car, and Melinda came up from behind and put a knife to her neck.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.